Welcome back. Thanks for joining me today. I mentioned in our last video that I had developed this model, a blueprint, if you will, that would help business owners like you. You see, I think this was exactly what my dad was missing. So let me tell you a little bit about this model, but I'll start by giving you an idea of how I came across the model, which I'll have to admit that came at a moment of desperation. At the time, I was working for a large privately held manufacturing firm. I was working in the functional roles, but I'd always had this idea that I wanted to run a business. So I had asked my boss, the CEO, if someday he would let me run a business. And he said, sure, let's just make the business work now and we'll see how it goes. Fast forward 2 years later, my boss walks into my office and literally hands me a key. And he said, Rich, this one's yours. We had just purchased a small, privately held manufacturing company. It wasn't working particularly well. It wasn't profitable at all. And it was my opportunity to try my hand at running a business. As you can imagine, I was thrilled. It was my chance of a lifetime to do something that I'd always wanted to do. So for a moment, I was excited. And then I was panicked. I really had no idea what I was going to do with this business. And so I moved my family to where the business was located, went to the business, and as I walked around, I thought to myself, what in the world have you gotten yourself into? What are you going to do now? I really had no clue. And so for days, in fact, weeks, I would simply walk around the factory, talking to people, learning a little bit about what they did, and trying to understand just how the business worked. The whole time in my mind thinking, how am I going to figure this out? What's going to click? What's going to make this make sense? I knew that if I just kept working it, I would come up with something. And then, in fact, where all great ideas hit you, mine hit me as well. I was in the shower one morning and I had this idea. And I thought, I might just be onto something. And over the next several days and weeks, I made notes on my idea and I developed it further. And the more I thought about it, the more it seemed to make sense. And so finally, I called my administrative assistant and I said, schedule a meeting. I want to share my idea with the entire team. Now, we had about a little over 200 people at the time in the business, so we had to clear out a big part of the warehouse. So we moved some equipment and some of the product out of the warehouse, and I went to the front of the room. I had put a table at the front of the room, and in fact, I put this bike on the table just as it stands here today. And I said to all of them, what's this? And as you can imagine, some of them said, it's a bike. Others said, stolen property. And I assured them it wasn't stolen property, but I told them it wasn't a bike either. I said, this is not a bike, this is our business. And you can imagine at that moment, several of them looked at me, and I saw this puzzled look on their face, and I could tell that they were thinking, holy cow, they sent us a nutcase. We're not sure where this guy's going, but I'm not sure he's got it all together. And I said, look, I believe this is our business. And I believe if we understand that, we can turn our business into a bike that goes really fast. So I asked them if it'd be okay if I took them on a lap around the bike to show them exactly what I meant. And so I'd like to do that with you today. I'd like to show you why this bike is really not a bike, it's your business. It's the business you're working today. So let me take you on a quick lap around the bike. Let me start here. The handlebars on a bike are how we steer. In a business, we steer with a vision. We have to paint a picture of where we want our business to go. It's got to be clear, it's got to be compelling, it's got to be convicting. We want people to get passionate about what we want to do so that they'll be motivated to go with us. We've got to steer. I felt like in our business, we didn't have our hands on the handlebars. We weren't painting a picture of where we wanted to go. we needed to do that, to create a vision so we could steer our business. The frame on the bike is what holds all the pieces together. It's the structure, it's the glue, it's what gives the bike its strength. In a business, the frame is an organization structure. It's the job responsibilities. It's who does what. Everything's got to connect together. You've got to be really clear about who does what role, how the handoffs occur, and how things connect to one another. If we don't have good connections to our frame, our bike gets wobbly. If we don't have those well defined in our business gets wobbly as well. The front wheel of the bike and the back wheel of the bike are the two places where the rubber really meets the road. These are the most important components of the bike. We have to have good traction because the tires are what's going to drive us forward. In business, the front wheel of the bike is how we win new customers. The back wheel of our bike in business is how we serve those customers and deliver on the promise that we made up front. The front wheel of the bike is really made up of three components. There's the hub, there are the spokes, and then there's the tire. In our business, winning new customers is really made up of three components as well. The hub represents the definition of our avatar, our ideal customer. We've got to be so clear on who we're really speaking to. Who is it that we're doing our business for? We've got to know their needs, their wants, their desires. We've got to know them intimately so that we can speak directly to them. The spokes on our business are our marketing strategies. This is the way that we get our message to our ideal customer. If I only had two spokes on the front wheel and I hit a bump, the front wheel would bend, it would break. We'd be out of the race. The same is true in business. I can't work a business on just two marketing strategies. I have to have 5 to 6 solid marketing strategies, solid spokes if you will, that are providing a steady flow of leads to my business so that I can constantly be growing the business. The tire represents our sales process. It's how we get traction with those who respond to our marketing messages. So we have to have a step-by-step process that we take each of our prospects through so that they get so comfortable in doing business with us that they'll pull out their wallet and do business with us. We've got to know what that is. It's got to be solid and it's got to gain traction. Then we've got to deliver on the promise. The pedals attached to the back wheel, so when someone pedals, it's what drives the bike forward. The back wheel of our business is the production or delivery of our service. So we've got to have solid tread on our back tire, which are the processes we use within our business to deliver on the commitment. So we have to have solid delivery processes, solid service processes. Every day of the week, whether it's Monday morning, early in the day, or Friday afternoon, our customer has to experience the same kind of delivery excellence from us. And that's done by having good, solid processes on the back wheel of our bike. Now you'll notice on the back wheel of this bike, I also have gears. I use the gears on my bike when I'm either going uphill or going downhill. If I'm going uphill, I want to gear up so that I don't have to put as much energy in to make it to the top of the hill. If I'm going downhill, I want to gear down so that I can take advantage of the downhill and go faster. The same is true in our business. We've got to have gears in the business that allow us to go at times when the business is flowing, we want to go fast with it. At times when the economy is pushing against us, we need to slow down and be able to run efficiently during those times as well. So we've got to have gears in our business as well. Here's an interesting fact about a bike. Both the front wheel and the back wheel have to go at the same speed. If they aren't, then something bad is going to happen. If the front wheel goes too fast in our business, faster than the back, then we're going to make promises to our new customers that we aren't going to be able to fulfill. And as a result, they're going to tell everybody about our poor service. If the back wheel goes faster than the front wheel, that means that we're going to use too many resources. We're going to burn our cash faster than we're bringing in new prospects and new revenues. So they have to go at the same speed. So you might ask this, how do I keep my wheels going at the same speed? Well, on a bike, I use my brakes. So the brakes are what we use to control the speed of the front and back wheel of the bike. In business, the brakes represent our financial controls. They're the things that we use to know whether we need to slow down on our spending on the production side of our business, or slow down on the spending on the front end, the sales and marketing side of our business. We can pull on either brake and it slows us down, it keeps us in balance. And here's something that's important to know. A checkbook is not a financial control. We've got to use our P&L, our balance sheet, our cash flow forecast, and a budget. Those are the financial controls that we need in business to be able to manage the speed on the front and back ends of our business. On a bike, I also have an indicator that sits right here on top of the handlebars. It's what tells me my pace, my cadence. It tells me my distance, my speed. It gives me an indication of how well I'm burning my fuel. In business, we need those same kind of indicators. We need those indicators that will help us look ahead. Those I call our key performance indicators. They're things like what's our flow of leads, what's our conversion rate, what's our average dollar sale. Those kinds of indicators that will help us predict our business in the future. We have to have them because we want to know how well we're burning our fuel. Now on a bike, you carry a water bottle. And the water bottle is so that we can refuel, rehydrate as we're riding. Typically, when you get on a bike, it's to go on a long ride. In business, we want to do the same thing. Business is not a sprint. Business is a long-distance marathon. So we need to rehydrate. So how do we rehydrate in business? Well, we have to make time for vacations. We have to have time to plan. We have to have time to strategize. And we have to dedicate some time simply to think about what we want our business to be. That's how we rehydrate in our business. Now, the seat on the bike is pretty important. And I don't have to tell you how uncomfortable it is if you get on a bike and the seat's not positioned well. It's not only not fun, it can be very painful. But our seat has got to be positioned in a way that allows us to put maximum power on the pedals. But the seat in our business is where our people sit. Our people are going to be the ones who are turning the crank in our business. So we've got to have our people programs positioned well to allow our folks to get maximum power to the pedals. There are things such as our compensation plan, our reward systems, our communication plan, our incentive programs, our recognition programs. Those are the things that are going to determine how comfortable our seat is for our people, because we want this positioned in a way so that they can put maximum power to the pedals, because they're going to be the ones that drive our business forward. Can you see a business here? Isn't that crazy? See, I think this is a business. Every part of it has to work together. If any part of it is broken, it's not a fun ride. So, here's what happened. So I share this story with my team, and immediately after that, people start coming up to me and they said, "Rich, I think I know what's wrong with our business." And they started relating to one or another part of the bike. And they could get it. It made sense to them. They could see how different aspects of the bike related to different aspects of the business. Fast forward 7 years. We're 5 times larger than we were when we started, and we were very profitable. We were a player in the marketplace. We owned the top end. And what typically happens when you get to that place is the largest competitor in our industry came to us and they made an offer to buy our company. We negotiated a good deal with them. I made sure that our people were well taken care of, and I had a chance to retire at age 50. I took a couple of years off to spend time with my family, to become a real dad, and then I moved my family to Texas, and I made the decision that at that point I was going to commit the rest of my working career to work with small business owners like you to help them understand how they can take their business, tune it up, and turn it into a bike that goes really fast. And that's what we're all about here. So over the past 7 years, I've written 2 books. I've worked with hundreds of business owners. I've facilitated numerous strategy sessions, and I've actually helped start up a dozen small businesses, all using the bike as the model, as the metaphor for a business. I can tell you this, it works, and it works incredibly well. So can you see what needs work in your business based on this model? Can you see what might be broken or need some tune-up in your business? There's so much more detail we could go into. And in our next video, we're going to go deep. In fact, I'm going to give you a detailed blueprint that you can use to work on every aspect of your business, every one that needs a tune-up. I'll give you a downloadable PDF so you can go follow along with me. I hope you can see why I'm so excited about this. And it's only going to get better, more detailed, and more specific in the next video. So before we close today, I'm going to ask you to scroll down and leave me a comment. Tell me what part of your bike needs a tune-up. Give me some specific details. I'll try to respond to each one, and we'll try to see if we can't give you a bit of a tune-up in your bike. So leave me a comment below, and I'll look forward to seeing you on the next video. Thanks for joining me today.
Take one.
So we've got to make sure that every aspect of the bike is solid and works well. Maybe I shouldn't have stopped the wheel from going, but I figured it was killing you with the noise. And frankly, in our business, I felt like we didn't have our hands on the steering wheel. I wish I hadn't given you the script. Can you see a bike here? Isn't that crazy? That script was for me, dude. And if I forget something, it's on me. The tread in our sales the tread on the back wheel of our bike must be you're killing me.